Hi, it's Attorney Pedro, and I'm an attorney here in Boston, Massachusetts, and in this video I wanted to go over dog bite claims. Under Massachusetts law, Chapter 140, Section 155, the law imposes strict liability on dog owners or keepers for injuries that are caused by their dogs. And strict liability means that the plaintiff or the person who was injured, they don't need to prove that the owner was negligent. It applies whether the owner knew the dog was dangerous or not, compared to other type of liability or negligence claims where you do have to prove fault. So when is the dog owner liable? To prove liability, the plaintiff, the person who was injured, needs to show that the dog caused the bite or the injury, that the defendant was the dog owner or the keeper at the time of the incident, and that the plaintiff was not trespassing or they were not teasing or tormenting or abusing the dog in some way. Okay, so what are some of defenses for dog liability claims? There are two main defenses. One is trespassing. So if the person who got hurt, the plaintiff, if he was unlawfully on someone's property, then that's a defense. They shouldn't have been there. They weren't invited, they didn't have access to the property. Then they would probably not be able to bring forward a claim. The other big defense is if you are teasing, tormenting, or abusing the dog. This doesn't include playful interactions or friendly interactions, but you can see where, if you're actually abusing the dog and the dog bites you, then you really don't have an excuse as to why the dog should be negligent or the dog owner should be negligent for that interaction. One major thing is minors, so anybody who is under the age of 7, there's a presumption in the law that they were not trespassing or abusing the dog, even if that was the case. Okay, so say that you were bitten by a dog, and if you meet all the other elements to bring forward a claim. What are the types of claims or damages that you can bring in a dog bite accident or incident? So the damages are very similar to any other personal injury claim. That is your medical expenses. That includes past and future medical expenses. It includes pain and suffering, and that's both physical and mental pain and suffering, as well as past and future pain and suffering. You can also bring forward a disfigurement or a permanent disability. For example, if the dog bite leaves scars on you, then that's a permanent disability. It's something you're going to have for the rest of your life. You can also bring forward a loss of earning or a loss of wage claim for any past and future lost wages that the injury may have caused you. If it was something severe enough where, for example, you couldn't play the piano anymore, so that's going to affect your future income, you could bring forward a claim for that. And then lastly, loss of enjoyment. This is just generally, your quality of life is now reduced because of the injury, of course, if it meets it. But ultimately, the goal is to put the person back in the position they were prior or before the accident. Not any better, not any worse. So, is really to compensate the person and make them whole again. Okay, so what are some examples of dog bite cases? Um, the most common one, actually, this is a case that I have right now, is when, say, a mail delivery person is delivering a package, delivering the mail, and the dog escapes and it bites the mail person. That's a valid claim. It doesn't You weren't trespassing because you have a right of access or a presumed right of access to deliver the mail. Um, and if you can prove that the owner of the property was the dog owner, then you're going to have a claim against that person. Now, it also includes non-bite type of injuries. Say, for example, if the dog is chasing the plaintiff or the pedestrian, and that pedestrian ends up falling or knocks them over, and they're injured as a result of that fall, you could also bring a claim for that. And lastly, if another animal, if a dog injures or bites your own dog, you can bring forward a property damage claim for any cost or injuries that resulted from that interaction. Okay, what are some general tips for victims of dog injuries? Um, some basic tips. You want to obviously seek medical attention. You want to document the injuries. You want to get treatment. You want to see if you need any type of vaccine. Medical documentation is going to be important when you bring forward a claim because if you don't get treatment, if you don't get the care that you need, it's going to drastically reduce the claim. You may not even have a claim if you can't prove that you were actually hurt from the dog bite. Second, you obviously want to gather as much evidence as you possibly can, and that includes taking injuries, taking pictures of the injury, taking pictures of the dog, taking pictures of the location, trying to get the name of any witnesses, and trying to get the information of the dog owner as well. You also want to call the police if it's something serious and or the other person is not cooperating with you. You definitely want to call the police. You want to have a report filed, and you also want to consider calling animal control. If this is not the first time that the dog has bitten somebody, you want to put that on record in case there needs to be some further steps that need to be taken against the dog or the dog owner. And then lastly, you want to talk to an attorney. If you feel that you have a legitimate claim, then you want to talk to an attorney to see what are the next steps to file that claim. So to wrap up, strict liability just means that dog owners must act responsibly in order to prevent any harm that their dogs might cause. So if you've been involved in a dog related injury, it's important that you know your rights. Um, Feel free to leave a comment or ask a question. I'll try to follow up. Just please note that this is not legal advice. Your situation is very different. Might be very different and is very fact specific. So this is just general advice, and not everything is going to apply to your situation. Um, so please consult a qualified attorney in your state. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.